don't know how to start this. This is all very new to me. All I want to do is get my story out there before something happens. No one believes me, and they all think I'm seeing things. But I know what I saw, and I know I'm not crazy. This all started a few days ago when I was home alone. It was approaching 11 at night, and I was in my room watching Netflix. I spent most of my time in my room doing something, whether it was playing video games, watching TV. My room gave me comfort. It was my sanctuary. My mom and dad were visiting my mom's sister in a town an hour away. They made sure I was okay with being home alone, and I insisted. I love staying home alone, even if I get scared easily. I have two sisters. We'll call them Jane and Alex. Jane was in Quebec with a few friends. She loved to travel and rarely could sit still. Alex loved to go out too, just she preferred clubs and parties. At that moment, I wasn't quite sure where Alex had been. She was almost never really home. Always going out with friends and to parties. That's where we were different. I sat in my room for a few hours watching my favorite show. I heard the door unlock and my dog started to go crazy. She's always like that, barking 24/7. She loves people and will jump and scream for a good 5 minutes when someone walks through the door. She ran out of my room and downstairs. I assumed it was Alex coming home from her friend's house. I continued to watch my show until I went downstairs to get a bowl of cereal. I walked into the kitchen to get some Frosted Flakes. My house was being renovated at the time, which is probably the main reason why my mom left. She hates being stressed out, but wanted a nicer house a lot more. My kitchen was open and led to the front hall and the family room. The family room currently had no furniture as the carpet was being torn out and replaced with hardwood in a few days. As I poured my cereal, I could see someone out of the corner of my eye. I looked and saw Alex digging in her purse for something by the stairs that led to the basement. My dog, Abby, was sitting beside her. She was quiet, which was immediately off-putting. Alex hates Abby, but that doesn't stop her from screaming and jumping on her in excitement. But this time she just sat there, staring at her. I paid no attention and got myself a spoon. "Where were you?" I asked out of curiosity. "Out," she replied. This was a usual answer of hers. "Out where?" "Just out." At this point, I assumed she was just in a bitchy mood, which she usually is, and I walked towards the stairs that led to my bedroom. As I walked, I noticed Alex would slightly turn to the right, so I could never actually see her face. At that moment, I paid no attention to that, but now I know exactly why she wouldn't face me. A few hours passed, and I was getting ready to go to sleep. My parents told me that they were staying the night, typical, and that my father would come home the next day in the morning. I turned off my TV and laid down. As I was drifting off to sleep, I heard Alex screaming. She was 2 floors below me, so I couldn't make out what she was saying, but she sounded scared. I ran the floor below and got to the top of the basement stairs. There were no lights on, and it was pitch black. I yelled out, "What?" She usually called me down to kill a spider or if she heard a scary sound. She called me down one time because there was a bee in her room, which turned out to be a fly. "I heard something down here." She sounded terrified, which made me quite scared. I made my way downstairs and stopped at the foot of her bed. She was sitting with a blanket half on her, staring at me. Her face was hidden in the darkness, and I could only make out the shape of her head. It was hard to see down there, and I was looking around to see what she may have been talking about. "Do you hear it?" she asked. We both sat still to listen to whatever she heard. I heard silence. I looked over at her and told her I didn't hear anything, but I could feel that something wasn't right. I felt like there was someone else down there with us. She told me it was coming from the laundry room. I walked over and stood at the other end of the room. To my left was the furnace room, which was covered off by a sliding door. The door was also mirrored, but was slightly broken due to careless Alex. In front of me was my computer, which I mostly used for video games. To my right was the laundry room, the only source of light in the basement. I saw the light turn on behind me, and I realized my sister had turned one on. This made it seem less scary down there. "I don't hear anything," I said. I looked back at her, but she wasn't facing me anymore. She was facing the wall beside her, which sort of creeped me out. "Listen again." I stood there and noticed that a sound emerged from the silence. It sounded like a man quietly talking to himself. I couldn't make out what he was saying, but it creeped me out. It was coming from the furnace room, and I was too afraid to open it. At that moment, I pulled out my phone and turned on the flashlight app to see better. As I turned the app on, I noticed I had a text. I keep my phone on silent, so I assumed I got it while I was down here. I wasn't going to reply to whoever it was, but I was curious what it said. I'm always curious, but now I kind of wish I hadn't been curious at that moment. I scrolled down my taskbar and saw that it was a text from my sister, Alex. I was confused. Why would she text me? Maybe she texted me before she called for me. I opened up the message and I froze in fear. Coming home from Alicia's, can you make sure the door is unlocked? This had to be a message that I received late. My sister was behind me. I was sure of it. The second after I read the message, I got a call. Again, it was my sister. I looked in the mirror to my left and noticed that Alex, or whoever was behind me, did not have a phone in her hand. She was sitting there, staring at me. As I answered the call, my mouth dropped. I'm coming home. Can you please unlock the door? I forgot my keys. It was my sister. She wasn't home. She was at a friend's house. I didn't say anything. At this point, the whisper from the furnace room started to get louder. I kept my sister on the phone. I never said anything, which made her angry, and she kept asking if I was there. Alex, please come home. Right now, I whispered. She hung up in frustration, and I dropped my phone to my side. Who was that? The person behind me asked. I didn't answer. I knew whatever was behind me was not Alex. I didn't know what to do, and that's when I saw it. I saw whatever was behind me. I glanced at the mirror beside me, and I could see the person in the background. I quickly turned on my flashlight app and pointed it straight at them. My eyes widened in fear. Whatever was sitting in my sister's bed, whatever was asking me for help, was not human. Every feature was right. The body, the hair, the clothes, everything. But the face. The face was as if someone just threw everything on. The eyes looked distorted, one being near its forehead and the other being much lower than that. The nose was tilted to the side, almost being sideways. The mouth was much larger than any human mouth, and it was smiling. But it wasn't really a forced smile, you see, but as if it was in its neutral state. I stared at the thing for a few seconds in fear. It knew I could see it, and it was angry. It screamed, making me cover my ears. I thought they were bleeding. The voice was piercing them. I fell to my knees, and my vision became disoriented. I looked up and saw the thing crawl away from me and ran up the stairs. The voice from the furnace room stopped as soon as the thing was gone. I ran into my laundry room and hid behind a rack of clothes. I wasn't going to follow it, and I sure as hell wasn't going to hide in the furnace room. I called my sister, who had just come home, and told her to come downstairs. I was crying at this point, not believing what I just saw. I told her what happened, and she actually believed me. I don't know if it was because she could tell how scared I was, or because she believed me in fear, but she did, and I'm glad she did. Please believe me, Reddit. I'm terrified. Ever since I saw that thing, people haven't been looking at me. My mom came home unexpectedly and hasn't looked me in the eye. I haven't seen her face. How am I supposed to know that's her? How am I supposed to know if I'm safe? Hey, how's it going? My name is Zombie, and I just wanted to say welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for listening to that video, and I hope you come back for more. Make sure that you leave a like and share with your friends if you did in fact like this video. If you have any video suggestions or creepypastas that you want read, make sure you leave those in the comments below in this or any future video, or you can send them to my Gmail, realzombie3d@gmail.com, or even tag me on Twitter at realzombie3d. All links will be in the description, as well as links to the music that was used in this video, my Facebook page, my official website, and my main channel, that is my gaming channel, which will be premiering in October of 2017, so make sure you stick around for that. Thank you again so much for listening, and I hope you stick around. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well so you can get notifications about when I upload again.